Hey guys, what's going on? It's Lane. Today I'm just gonna make an update video regarding my hitbox progress. Because as you all know, with some of my followers and some people that I know personally, you know that I have a hitbox and I started training with it for the past week. And I'm just gonna say what my thoughts are regarding hitbox and what's the difference between an arcade stick. So let's get into it. Well, first off, why did I choose Hitbox? Well, basically because Hitbox right now gives you precise input, and it's much easier on my wrist. Because I'm kind of old now, like I'm 26, and whenever I play in longer sessions, I get wrist pain now for playing on my arcade stick with my irregular ball top lever. So with the Hitbox, I feel like this has eased the pain. I don't get much pains anymore, even for playing for extended sessions, and it helps me quite a bit. And that's also a big reason why I made the switch. I will get into more stuff later, and I will say my observations afterwards. So my observations so far after a week, which is about right now about 6 days. I don't sit a lot. I don't sit for hours on end. Like, I have a regular, normal, full-time job. I get to play about 3-4 hours a day per session. So 6 days times 3 or 4, that's about 6, 12, 18. That's about 24 hours so far with Hitbox experience. And so far, I'm gonna list first the negatives and what I've noticed with the Hitbox. The number one thing, I believe is the most negative thing for the Hitbox, is the mental stat. Because a lot of people saying nowadays that when you switch to Hitbox, you're automatically gonna be a god. You're gonna automatically have spectacular executions, you know, all these ridiculous things that people are claiming. You know, a lot of people are saying that Hitbox is basically quote unquote cheat box, when technically it's not true. Well, my main grasp for Hitbox is basically what happens if you play on a Hitbox is your mental stack is gonna be higher. Because whether you believe it or not, when you get a new controller like a Hitbox, you're actually learning a brand new controller from scratch that you haven't played on before. And what I mean by bigger mental stack is constantly think about what you're gonna do. What I mean by this is like as you know, the up button is on the thumb side, which is down, and your down button is on the middle of the stick. So basically it's inverted. So the one thing that I got confused about, like got me a while to get used to, is actually the up button is below your hand and the down button is above it. So that's one thing that got me a little bit confused, and every time I move now on a Hitbox, I have this mental stack of what buttons to press, when to let go, when to stop pressing certain stuff. I have to keep in mind in this. I will touch on this stuff that I'm talking about, where like letting go, in the Korean backdash portion of this, because Korean backdash and Hitbox is actually pretty difficult, and it took me a while to like actually get good with it. I'm still pretty trash at it. Right on this one, I'm using two hands for this one, and I'm getting a fairly fast backdash, right? And that one requires mental stack as well. You have to think about when to let go, because like when you press them at the same time, this is what you get, right? So I will discuss this more later, but basically the biggest thing with a Hitbox is the mental stack it puts on your brain when you start using one. You're not going to be automatically great at it, and it's not going to be intuitive. I 100% assure you that based on my experience. And to be honest, my first 2-3 days, I can perform a combo. It was just hard for me, and doing EWGFs and movement was actually, when I first got the Hitbox, it's actually pretty hard to just Korean backdash. So my Korean backdash was just really, it was fast, and learning Hitbox actually, yeah, it's like I went back to beginner level and I have to relearn all this stuff. So yeah, so that the first one for the negatives of a Hitbox is when you're learning it, it's gonna give you big mental stack. It's like you're learning a new controller. Now at the second part of the negatives is the Korean backdash. Now, Korean backdash is a chore actually on Hitbox. There is two ways to actually do this, which is the SOCD, where you hold back and then you press down and then forward. And when you do that, you get this. Oh, sorry, I'm pressing the wrong button. So you press back, down, and then forward. Okay, but you have to let go of the down or you're gonna get something like this. So you see what I'm talking about with the mental stack? You have to know when you're letting go of the button. Because if you don't let go of the button at the proper timing, you get this and you won't get backdashes. So this is on the proper way. I'll turn on my actually, so you can see to the smart people out there who wants to see my command history. I'll open it for you. So this is the proper way of doing it. See, that's the SOCD cleaning of it, right? So I hold back, press down, and then let go of down, then forward, and I get a backdash right there. So again, and this is me using my two hands. This is not how I Korean backdash. I'm practicing doing it on one hand. Okay? So that's one thing to do a Korean backdash. And one is the regular one. Back, back, down, back, back, down, back, back, down, back, back, down, back. And that's the... There it is. See, I'm doing it fairly well this time. Maybe it's because I'm recording, so I'm pressured to perform, but my back is not this fast. Alright? So that's the regular backdash, but I am practicing the SOCD one because SOCD, when you get used to it, you can get extremely fast backdashes. But to get to that speed, it took me a while. It took me a week, so it's been technically a week now. And doing this, I promise you, in the first 3 days, your brain will be everywhere. It's like even now, like I'm not faking it. Like, I can do it right now. See, like there, I fucked that up. There. So to do that for me, I have to think very hard what I'm pressing. Like that's why the SOCD is much better, because it reduces the mental stack on thinking about what you need to do. But with the downside of thinking about the backdash when you're doing SOCD is when you're letting go of the buttons. And that one takes a while to master. And keep in mind as well, I play a lot of rhythm games like DJ Max, so my fingers is actually pretty dexterous. And I'm still having a hard time like doing this thing on my one hand. That's two hands. I'll show you my regular backdash speed. Okay, this is not exaggeration. This is with SOCD. It's fairly still slow. My regular backdash speed is not this slow on a stick. So this is the second thing I've noticed. The Korean backdash is way harder and requires again a lot of mental stack. Number 3 of the negatives is consecutive wave dashes are harder. So I'll just demonstrate how this looks. It's gonna suck because ever since I picked up one, I haven't touched machine much, to be honest, because you know why? I cannot wave dash. I cannot wave dash at all. And one of my main characters, Jin, he's not one of my main. He's in my top 5 because I can perform a proper wave dash. So this is me on Hitbox wave dashing. All right, I'm gonna try to do it as fast as I can. It's gonna be hella slow, okay? Because I haven't practiced it, and it's really freaking hard. And I tried to practice it for one day, which is about 2-3 hours, and it's still slow. That's me doing a wave dash. And this is all 2 fingers. So letting you know, I'm not doing 2 hands on this because I don't have muscle memory to do 2 hands yet. I'm failing it miserably, see? Even my God, this is not coming out because I still don't have the timing. There it is. lot of people are saying like Godfist is also easier. No, it's not. It's coming out now. There's a mental stack, like as I'm always saying. So that's the speed of my wave dash in Hitbox. Now I'm pulling my old main stick, my Quanva Dragon. I'll show you my wave dash speed in my Quanva Dragon on player 1 side. So this is my backdash on. I'm using my stick now, my ball top. Okay. This is my backdash. It's my backdash, and I'm doing my not backdash. It's my Korean backdash, right? Let's player 1 side. There's quite a bit of EWGF as well. And this is gonna be on the player 2 side. Of course, player 2 is much easier, and the difference in Hitbox is actually Hitbox is much harder on player 2 side on a wave dash. And there's no shortcuts. You have to learn this notation on player 2 on Hitbox. And yeah. And Godfish right there. I haven't used Mishima like I said and stick for a week now, so like it's all get my timing back since there's coming out. So as you can see, like speed wise, stick is better. I mean, I feel like, cause like if you've got the muscle memory down, like doing this thing is like the easiest thing in the world, especially player 2 side, right? So yeah, so that's one thing. That's another negative for a Hitbox. It's like your speed will not be up to par as using your stick. I mean, my speed in P1 is there. It's just like I can't do consecutive because it's harder on my wrist because I have to like go all the way, but the speed is there, as you can see. It's just like I can't do consecutive because I am not a god at consecutive wave dashes in player 1. P2 it's fairly easy, but player 1 is kind of hard because you have to drag your whole hand to do that notation. And as I've said before, I have a condition with my wrist, which is kind of it's not really a serious condition. It's just a pain, a wrist pain that I get. And yeah, so basically we've talked about the negatives, which is the three negatives is like the number 1 thing, bigger mental stack. Number 2, Korean backdash is harder. And number 3, consecutive wave dashes is harder on Hitbox. Now, of course, while there's negatives, there's also positives, and I'm gonna talk about the positives next. Alright guys, so now I'm on to the positives. I'm using my Hitbox again for reference right now on Lydia here. So what are the positives that I've noticed with Hitboxes? Well, first of all, sidesteps. Sidesteps, comparing to a sticks, since you're using only finger to move around, this is way easier. The press of a button, you get a sidestep. Right? You don't need to move your entire arm to do a sidestep, especially a backdash on up like this. This is way easier on a Hitbox. Like the sidesteps is much more precise and it's much easier to do because like if I'm using a stick, when I do stuff in between strings, let's say I open up with this. Or I jab, it's much easier to do that, to do this jab without having strain on your arm because you just press a button to do the side steps, right? So that's number 1 thing. So number 1, side step is much easier on a Hitbox. Number 2, the number 2 positive when using a Hitbox is I feel like doing stuff on a Hitbox feels more precise. It's really hard to explain what I mean by this, but What I mean by precise is like I don't get any mispresses, and whatever move I want to get out, it comes out, and you don't get a lot of stuff where let's say a common theme, let's say you play wave dash characters that have a forward, neutral, and down forward move, like EWGFs or Thunder God Fist, those kinds of moves. If you have those kinds of moves, a general problem that people get at some point in their Tekken career, player 2 people, a lot of people have gotten this problem before where they dash in, right? They dash in and they want to do a DF1 move or some sort of DF move from a dash in. Now, a common problem with stick is a lot of people, in order to chase down bound opponents, people get a problem with mispresses with dash in and using a DF1 move, because people let go of their stick and they get a neutral move and this comes out instead. So what I mean by this is I'm gonna restart Lily, I'm gonna remove, oh, we're gonna change positions. So they get that instead of a DF1, a dash DF1 like that. Now if you're using Hitbox, that particular move is easy to remedy because you don't really get that problem because you have buttons, right? So that you get that right, that's easy. It's easy to do. When hitboxes, so technically mispresses will not be a thing for you. Whatever you press, it will always come out. And that's the beauty of it, in my opinion. That's why I'm making the switch as well. If you want to get good at the game, you will want to minimize the amount of problems that you're dealing with, and mispresses is definitely one of it. So Hitbox will definitely help there, but as you can see, I'm still getting mispresses because I haven't practiced using characters like Kazuya on a Hitbox. I've only been using characters without wave dash motions. I've used Jin on player 1, but like again, I will probably make an updated video regarding Mishima usage on Hitbox, because one of my mains, Jin, like on my top 5 characters that I use. I need to learn this, because if I can't, well, I'm kind of fucked, right? And lastly, it's easier guarding and faster dashes and back dashes. And what I mean by that is regular dashes and forward dashes, not Korean backdash, because Korean backdash, I feel like stick is much easier. Like if you've memorized the patterns of moving your wrists and you've memorized the notations with your muscle memory, backdash is just much easier on a stick. Of course, this is subject to change as well, because once I get more experience with Hitbox, I would update my takes on this. So if I am wrong, I apologize in the future if I do, because right now this is just my first impressions of what I feel about the stick, right? With the Hitbox. Back to my point, guarding and with using buttons instead of a lever, it will prevent you being lazy on your defense. Because if you're using Hitbox, it's much easier to guard down back using down back guard. It's easier to sidestep, which is a defensive tactic, and it's much easier to just literally like back dash, because like you press 2 buttons to just do this. With stick, you have to move your full hand, right? Before I end the video, I'm just gonna say this. People who are downplaying the Hitbox, or saying like, oh, when you use it, it's just cheating. You're cheating at the game. Well, it's technically really not true, because like a lot of people, this has been talked about quite a bit. The past, I believe that was when did Brian F's video come out regarding the Hitbox trend? I think that was almost like 4 or 5 months ago. Yeah, technically it's not gonna make you a god if you use the Hitbox, not overnight at least. Do I feel that the benefits outweigh the cons on the Hitbox? I mean, I don't think there is a con, to be honest. I just feel like I need more time to just get used to this stick, because I feel like using Hitbox right now is just my inexperience. Picture it like this, right? You've never had a console in your entire life. You've never played on an Xbox, you've never played on a PlayStation. You've never seen a controller, like a game controller, in your entire life, right? And you get your hands on this controller and someone just tells you, okay, play on it. That's basically how it feels. You just got a new controller that you have no experience on, and you just have to learn it from scratch. So the primarily reason I bought a Hitbox is, first of all, my wrist condition, and secondly, because I want more precise inputs, which is, I feel like it's actually doing for me. Is it hard learning a new device? Of course. Anything in life that you're new with, whether it be new jobs or whether you've got into a new place you've never been in, you have to learn the lay of the land, and you have to learn from zero. Picking up a Hitbox won't automatically make you a god at the game. That's absolutely not the case, and I've seen it myself and I've experienced it myself. Because to be honest with you, coming in with Hitbox, I thought it'd be so intuitive. I thought it's gonna be easy. Oh, I'm gonna get a Hitbox, I'm automatically gonna be a god. I can kill anybody that I want to fight against. Which, I got the Hitbox, I got the Victrix FS12 controller, I played on it, and I was ass. I got a reality check in my ass. Like, oh, I guess I was wrong with my opinions then. That it's not gonna make me as good as I thought, because partially I thought that's actually what's gonna happen for me. But unfortunately, it's not. And it's like learning a new device. That's basically where you're at. So, to wrap it up, is Hitbox the most optimal way to play fighting games? In my opinion, yes. Right now, it is. But getting into it, it's not gonna be instant. You won't be instantly a god at it. It will take time. But I do feel like when you've invested the time and resources for yourself, and you've gotten good at it, and you've gotten used to the notations, the finger positioning, the finger dexterity, and all that for your movement, I believe that it's the more superior controller. It's just more precise, it's more fluid, and it just feels better. At least for me, you know. But either way, this is just my opinion. You're free to agree or disagree with me. Hitbox will not make you a god overnight. It's not gonna. Maybe in a couple of months. Who knows? Maybe I'll be a god in a couple of months. But the fact is, you have to learn it. Learning takes time, and I think that's what people is wrong to downplay it. So that's the end of the video. Thank you for listening, and have an awesome day or awesome night wherever you're at. Cheers, guys.